17, about his beginnings and how he came into the industry and how he used to write and attend like theatre colleges, like study young groups. And how he got in, and then I was at the talk, and it just inspired me, and I was like, wow, if someone like him can do it, then I can do it too. Do you know what I mean? Someone similar to me is this is when he did Get Out, and I was like, bro.
Yeah, that was like 7 years ago now.
Yeah, man, like he was killing it. And then so obviously I've read the play before. Sucker Punch, like Roy Williams, amazing writer, sick cast, just amazing play to be a part of, and the fact that it was one of his first breakout roles into, you know, big wide acting world.
Yeah.
And then to be cast as the same role as him, I was like, damn. It's crazy. Like.
It's almost like a fate kind of thing. I'm not saying you're going to be, I'm going to be the next one, but it kind of puts you in like a good, well, if he can do it, I can do it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Tell me more. So how did you actually sort of find that? Did you have to sort of find that play and you decided to audition to it, or did they reach out to you? Like, how does it work?
Yeah, so I had my agent at the time just sent over, they're like, oh, they're casting this for this theatre. It's going to go on tour, part of the National Theatre as well. Like, are you interested in this kind of, like, you read the script obviously if you know the story, and it was like, I knew the story already, I knew the writer. I was like, I'm in. Like, auditioned, was 2 rounds of audition over Zoom because we were just coming out of COVID.
Right.
So over Zoom, love the director Nathan Powell, shout out him. Proper click straight up, and like I put so much work into that audition, man. It's like some auditions, like obviously you put your heart and soul into all of them, but then some you just you're like, I have to get this, you know what I mean? Any way possible. So
that's interesting. So without sort of giving it away, what is the sort of premise of the play? Because I know it's something to do with like boxing, and obviously it's based in the 80s and stuff. So like, what sort of is it about? Without giving it away.
It's about it's based around a young guy called Leon, and he grows up around the 80s, and it's about boxing, of course, and it's about how his life is affected by his environment, by his conditions, by England at the time, and how that shapes him, essentially, without giving away too much. And it's about his relationship with the world, with his trainer Charlie, and with his best friend Troy, and then you see the effects of the world in the 80s and how it affected young black men back then, and how they just had to deal with stuff. There's a lot of race involved. So yeah, it's amazing play. I definitely recommend reading it.
Yeah, I mean, because you guys aren't doing it anymore, are you? Because I look, so I couldn't see it again if I wanted to. Is there not like a recording of it anywhere?
I'm sure there is.
I looked up on YouTube and I could only see like trailers and stuff, and I couldn't see. I saw like some promotion for the old one back in 2010, but I couldn't see anywhere I could watch it or anything. Because obviously it's in the theatre.
Yeah, I'm sure there probably is a recording in the archives of the theatre world. I might be able to dig it out.
Yeah, I'd like to see it because I don't know if you're into boxing at all. Like, do you yeah. Boxing. And it's funny. I watched a documentary. This company I used to work for, like this TV company, they made a Amazon doc called Four Kings, and it's about Lennox Lewis, Chris Eubank, Nigel Benn, and the main one. What was his name? He was the heavyweight. He's like a proper Cockney kind of black guy. He fought Mike Tyson twice. He fought Lennox Lewis. He became world champion. What was his name? He's my favourite one out of those 4 as well.
Ooh.
Oh, that's gonna drive me insane. But he's like anyway. But obviously it's set in the 80s as well, and he talks about like how obviously back then obviously there's a lot more racism, but him being the champion and the kind of guy he was, he sort of like the white Britain took to him as well. But it's interesting. Like it's a good thing to watch. And obviously when I saw that your play, it sort of made me think about that sort of era as well with boxing. So yeah, it's just interesting. What are you working on at the moment?
At the moment, nothing at current. Working on just, I've got a few things coming out. I had an advert come out the other day, last week.
Can you say what for? Is it?
Yeah, Old Spice. I don't know.
Oh, I keep seeing loads of their ads at the moment as well. I saw one like yesterday when I was watching football. Yeah, that's cool. How do you even get that? Obviously you got an agent and they sort of find it.
Yeah, again through my agent, and then you get the audition. I was on holiday at the time I auditioned. Done the audition. done another audition and just filmed it in Spain, which was amazing.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing with acting. Like when you work in creative industries, like it's work can be scarce. Like I know that from working in TV. Sometimes you're in between jobs, between months, kind of thing. With you, are you sort of, do you work like a regular job part time and in between?
Yeah, I work a full-time tech sales job.
Really? So you're working full time? Wow, that's like dedication, because obviously you want to dedicate as much time to like your craft, but then at the same time you need money. You need to like live and kind of thing. That's crazy.
And it's cost of living as well, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not easy kind of thing. And when I hear these stories about people who are like in creative industries, whether it's like actors, TV people, comedians, they're always saying that like, it's weird because I feel like people that work in normal jobs, like your friends or whatever, family, they'll never quite get it. They're like, why don't you just like, it's just a lot of stress.
And audition for Emmerdale.
Yeah, they don't really get it. Like it's hard to come by, but it's more satisfying doing something that you kind of enjoy and trying to like put it all together. But yeah, that's kind of good, man. But back to that sucker punch. Did you have to do a lot of boxing training for that, I'm guessing?
Yeah. So we had a boxing coach come in and train us. Gary put us through the paces. Like he was serious. Like I'm talking like my fitness was, I think that was my peak of fitness. You know,
I can imagine.
in life, like I was skipping every day, and it was a thing where I had to do a speech during a skit, monologue while skipping.
Yeah.
And do tricks as well.
Yeah.
So I was so like focused on making sure I could skip properly.
Yeah.
And do the speech without tripping up, because my worry was on stage. You don't want to
embarrass yourself, kind of thing. Yeah.
Essentially.
Have you? I haven't seen this film, but I watched an interview a few months ago with Russell Crowe. He's done a few boxing movies, and he was kind of saying the same thing as you. He got so fit for this film that he was like, and I was fighting. He was like, I had like I think he said in one of the like last takes, he had like a broken hand or whatever, but he just had to just carry on. And I can imagine like it's grueling doing that training and sort of being in that condition, because that has to look real. Like a lot of, like I'm a big fight fan, but what a lot of fight fans say when they're watching sort of fight films, they'll say that choreography is a bit not very realistic kind of thing. So to get it right is like a really difficult kind of thing. Do you sort of prefer theatre or TV or films? Like if you could choose, like what would be your kind of thing?
They're all different, really. Theatre is live. You're getting live feedback from the audience, right?
Yeah.
And it's that straight exhilaration.
I don't think I could do that, you know.
You know what I mean?
No.
I think we've all got it in us, you know. It's definitely a skill, of course, but we've all got it in us, man. Because I remember back in the day when you used to be a child, you didn't care about who was watching. When you were playing You're Action Man, or 1 minute you're running around doing this, or it's basically that, like that, just as an adult, you know. I think it's a great skill to have. It's just public speaking as well. But yeah, no, just getting up on stage, man. It's just the feedback, the exhilaration. It never doesn't get scary. I'm always scared beforehand, and then you go on and
I get nervous thinking about you, because I would sort of think, I know it sounds dumb because obviously I'm not an actor, but I don't get it, but I would sort of think, okay, if I'm on set on like a film or a show, if you mess up your line, you can do it again. I would sort of be like, oh man, you get it wrong. I know the show just goes on, but you're getting it wrong in front of all these people. It's just like, do you know what I mean?
You roll with it.
Yeah.
That's part of the exhilarating fun. Like, it's so, you got to know your character and know the story you're telling and your lines to a T. Of course, sometimes mistakes do happen.
Yeah.
But it's like, the cast are there to support each other. So if, you know, I ever messed up or my castmate messed up, we just roll with it. We know exactly what's going next. Some of the covers, the audience don't realise it's that smooth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's kind of, you're sweeping up after each other.
Keeping the game going, keeping it alive. It's kind of like, damn, is that really happening right now? And then you know, but the audience don't know unless they've seen it before. So that's the fun of theatre. And then film lasts forever, you know. I haven't actually done a film yet, but I know it lasts forever. You know, you got the old classics that you can watch, and I feel like that's what I want to leave my family. You know, the legacy.
Because sometimes you see, like, you know, some actors that they've done everything. Whether it's they sort of start in the theatre and then they've done, say, like big shows and movie actors. So, for example, I think a guy like Brad Pitt, I don't think he's ever really done television. He's pretty much just done film. But then you get actors like, say, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but you know, guys that have done both, and you're like, oh wow, they've done like everything, sort of thing.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. It feels it's definitely different. I mean, TV is another another ball game. Of course, you got the rise of Amazon, Apple,
Netflix,
etc.
yeah.
Netflix, all of that. It's another ball game. It's about being a series regular and a lead. Like, what does that entail? I've not done that yet either. So it's another ball game, but I guess that lasts forever as well. But you want to be in the big things that last like a long time. Like, I don't know, favorite is Breaking Bad.
I think it's probably the best show I've ever seen, but it gave me, I'm not an anxious person, but it gave me so much anxiety, I've never watched it again. I've watched the whole thing. I watched it in a few months. I watched it just after lockdown finished, and it was just the most amazing thing I've ever seen. But I don't think I can watch it again. Even though I know what happens, it just gives me so much like, it's just a killer. Do you know what I mean? And so do you sort of watch a lot of more series, or are you more like a film guy?
Both, really.
Yeah.
It's just about time now. You know what I mean? Like from work to the craft. But I'm both. I make time for films, especially in theatre. A lot of theatre, a lot of film. So yeah, both.
I done I would say I've watched like most of the big series that like Breaking Bad, Sopranos, The Wire, Snowfall, all of these big series. But I realised that I've not really seen a lot of the classic films. So a lot of my colleagues that I was working with a few months ago, they were like, "Oh, you should download Letterboxd," and I was like, "What's that?" And it's like a app where you download it, you say your 4 favourite films, and then you give a review of a film, and then I've basically been trying to watch 1 film a week for the last few months, and it's just like, I've watched so many of the classics I'd never seen before, and it's just like eye-opening to see so many of these great films kind of thing. And I've really got into film at the moment. I will get back into series, but like I still haven't watched like Severance, everyone's talking about now.
Yeah, I need to watch that, but I'm in a relationship, so obviously the girlfriend like wants to watch it at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So is there anything you're watching at the moment?
At the moment, what am I watching at the moment? No, a lot of films. I watched the other day. I watched. I'm still here. The Brazilian film.
City of God.
No. It's like a new Brazilian film. It won an Oscar the other day. It's like based on real life in Brazil.
Oh, okay.
And what happened with the government. But it was a beautiful film.
All in Portuguese.
Yeah, actually.
Do you watch the dub or do you do subtitles?
No subtitles.
Yeah, I don't understand people that watch it. I can't do it.
You got to keep that original language and the original emotion coming from the characters.
Yeah.
Read, because you can get so much that dub. Dubs are great, but dubs can't always.
It's just not authentic. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think as well when you're sort of what I've sort of done when I started watching Breaking Bad. I think sort of when I started watching Sopranos, Breaking Bad, sort of in lockdown as lockdown was finishing, I realised I would be on my phone watching things and you miss things. So what I did was when I started watching Breaking Bad, whenever I'm watching a series or a film, my phone goes in another room, so I'm just watching the thing. And I feel like you see so much more that you miss, whether it's like intentional or not, whether like it's with what they're wearing or where it's set, and it's just like, I can't stress it enough. It sort of winds me up because I got my sister to start watching Sopranos, my older sister, a few months ago. But I go in, she's watching it she's on her phone. I'm like, you're not actually watching it. Kind of thing. It's so frustrating, kind of thing. But yeah, man, there's just so much good stuff out there. So when you said Daniel Kaluuya is your favorite actor, who are some other guys? Say if you could choose, I would love to work with this person. Like, who would it be, director or actor?
Kaluuya, of course.
Yeah.
Spielberg.
Spielberg, yeah.
Of course. Gosh, there's so many. Viola Davis.
Oh, really? That's a rogue one. Yeah, I mean, she's a legend. Do you know what I mean?
I read her autobiography. Bro, like, just wow.
Was it crazy?
Yeah, man.
Oh, okay.
Like the life people live, of course, and the life you see on the TV and big screen, and because they're celebrities, you might think, oh, they haven't struggled, or maybe they've struggled and they say they've struggled. But then when you read about their lives and stuff, and it's like, damn.
Yeah.
And Will Smith, of course, man. Like, yeah.
I love Will Smith, but since the slap thing, I just can't. Like Fresh Prince is one of my favorite shows of all time, and he's made some of my favorite. But since I know it's like everyone makes mistakes, but that really put because Chris Rock's my favorite actor as well, my favorite comedian.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I love Chris Rock, and that just winds me up so much. But he's an amazing actor as well. Yeah.
He's made some. I mean, Will Smith was part of the reason why I got into acting when I was younger. I used to have a high top, back in the day. Yeah. Every young black kid in
Fresh Prince was goated. Like I remember what channel it was on back in the day because I think it was on the same channel as My Wife and Kids back in the day.
Mm.
Like there were so many good sitcoms. I feel like in the 90s and early 2000s, whereas I feel like you don't really get sitcoms like now.
No, they don't make them like they used to.
UK or America. Like I think the last proper sitcom that was made was probably like Modern Family, and that started in 2009. Like you don't really get. I mean, I still watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and they still make them now, but you don't really get like sitcoms anymore.
You don't.
Even comedy movies. I think the last probably great comedy movie was probably like Superbad, and that was like 2007 or 8.
Again the other day.
It's so good,
Hilarious.
and I don't get why. Like you don't get these great comedy movies anymore.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, maybe some of the jokes in them can't fly anymore as well. It's part
Yeah,
of
but it's a joke. Like I can understand why people might get offended, but it is a joke. Like I think Superbad's one of the best comedy movies of all time, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hilarious, man.
Even the other day, I was watching. Never seen it before, but I watched White Men Can't Jump for the first time. That is hilarious. I mean, it came out in like '92, but it still holds up now, and it was like really, really funny, kind of thing. Even something like that, I feel like we don't get those kind of movies anymore.
No, we don't.
Yeah. Do you ever watch like? I mean, you said you watched the Brazilian movie, but do you ever watch like foreign movies? Because I only watched Parasite the other day, and it was incredible.
Yeah, I need to watch Mickey 17 actually. That is on my list.
Is that foreign?
Yeah, by the same director as Parasite.
Oh, because that's I know Robert Pattinson's in it.
Yeah.
I thought it was American. Yeah.
But a lot of like you know, there's other medias. I watch anime as well quite a lot, and the storytelling in that is, even though it's not acting, but it's all about acting. It's also about the story and the storyline, etc., and the characters, etc. You see a lot of beautiful stories being told through anime. Character development, you know. So.
Yeah, of course. So let me just see if it's recording, because sometimes it always cuts out. My phone's been a bit dodgy.
No worries, bro.
Yeah, we're still going. Oh, all right, so I didn't ask. So how exactly did you get into acting? Because I know you said Daniel Kaluuya is your favourite actor, but how did you sort of go, I want to do that, and start trying it?
I was just always, from when I was young, I was a class clown in school, innit? Like, it wasn't really, I don't know how to describe, it wasn't like I woke up and was like, I wanted to be an actor. I think when I was younger, I did go to dance school and stage school, and I did dance, I did pantomime at Hackney Empire. And also, from there, I just knew I always loved performing. In school, I was always performing. I was always in the drama and the dance. As well, I was smart academically, but I liked to make a joke. And then from sixth form, after sixth form, I didn't go to uni. I just tried to go to, acting, kind of stage theatre groups.
Yeah.
So Peckham Theatre, shout out them, was a great hub for me when I was younger. Stratford East as well. So a lot of these theatre groups, young, from like 16 to 25, I was getting involved in. And from there, just being around other people who are more experienced in the industry, kind of understand, well, okay, so you need a headshot. Okay, cool. So let me get a headshot. Okay, you need an agent. So let me find an agent. And then from the agent, you're getting auditions, and then eventually landing something. You know what I mean? So it's just understanding more. And then I always knew, just, I guess, after performing, I was like, I want to keep doing this.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Because I feel like now, I think a lot of people have sort of interest, whether they want to be an actor or they want to work in television or music or whatever, but they just think, I could never do it, so they just never kind of try, which is sad, because I get it. It's the chances are stacked against everyone trying to make something like that, but I feel like if you just don't try, like if it doesn't work out, what's the worst that can happen, kind of thing.
Yeah, you got to be in the game to win.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So,
man.
I don't know. I think as well, it's always a scared, like, I'm scared of getting to, my age and my time and just thinking, but then you can't. It's your time,
Yeah, I'm the same, because I sometimes just think, well, if I didn't actually try it, then what's the worst that could happen, kind of thing. It's just like, okay, I can work a normal life, but it's whatever. Like because I think a lot of people don't realize is when you see these people who are doing things that you want to do, they just went and done it. They didn't sort of have, say, rich, I mean, some people do, but they didn't have rich parents or whatever. They just said, well, let me just try it, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's not the end of the world, you know what
Exactly.
I mean? Yeah. So do you have kind of like a plan of where you want to be in a couple of years, like mini targets and this and that? Because obviously I know these sort of industries aren't linear, where you sort of go, I'm going to do this in 2 years, and in 3 years' time I'm going to do that. But is there anything that you kind of have like your eyes set on?
I don't, I think I'm just grateful for the journey, bro. Every year I've got to the next year and be like, rah, I can't believe I did that last year. I can't believe, wow. and then like it'll be a thing where like I'm somewhere filming something or doing a play or in a room with people, and it's like, bro, how did I even get in this room?
Yeah.
You know?
I know exactly what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And do you know what makes? Because I've had this kind of experiences when you're like even just in the room with these people, you think, wow, it just seems so close. Like it's in like touching distance, but not quite. But then you keep going, and then eventually you're there, kind of thing, which is kind of just satisfying as well. And what I think is good about these kind of industries, people that are trying to do acting or whatever. You know, like if you're trying to be an athlete or whatever, like football, you have to be basically kind of not made it, but in there from when you're like 16, 17. If you're an actor, you cannot make it until like you're like whenever age. There's not a shelf life kind of thing. I mean, look at like Samuel L. Jackson. I don't really think he got his big break until like
40. So.
Yeah, like mid 30s, like early 40s, like in the 90s kind of thing. Whereas if you're like a 35-year-old footballer trying to make it like that, like it's probably just not going to work. Yeah. When you sort of have sort of done interviews and stuff, you said it's just been like promotional or whatever, or like sort of.
Yeah, promotional kind of. About the character more so, I would say. Yeah, I've never done one of these.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's not like we got millions listening kind of thing, but for me, it's just like fun to do, just to speak to different kind of people. Because
man.
what kind of is annoying on my part is I know because I do this show every Friday at 8 o'clock. It's a lot to ask people to come to this place at a certain time and be here for whenever. So I've been trying to sort of go out to people and say, I'll come to you kind of thing. Like I interviewed this guy maybe like a month or so ago who's like a amateur MMA fighter. So I just drove down to his gym. So just little things like that. But it's fun. I like speaking to different people and just sort of getting their story. Like I had no idea you had like, oh, Daniel Kaluuya was your favorite actor, and you were like, oh, I'm just gonna try it. And then by chance you had the same sort of thingy as him. Have you ever? Did you say you've met him before?
I met him once. Obviously, he did a chat when I was like young, 2017, and then I got a picture with him, right, where at the end of the talk he was like going backstage, and then people were trying to take photos with him. And then I sprinted. I was at the back of the theatre auditorium. I sprinted all the way down to the stage. I was the last person to take a selfie with him.
Yeah.
And I saw him at an event, and I was like, bro, like I've taken this photo with you, but obviously I didn't want to be like too much.
Yeah.
Let me show you. So he was like, oh, sick, bro, like that's mad. But then I also want to then show him later when we eventually work together. Like, bro.
I was literally just gonna say that's gonna bang in like 10 years, and you're like, oh, you guys are on the same sort of level kind of thing. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice when things like that come full circle. And I always sort of think, if you're sort of doing something that you're interested in, even though it doesn't work straight away, I think if you're sort of putting the miles in, eventually something will happen. Do you know what I mean? You might not be, whether it's you or me, be like, oh, the biggest star ever. But if you're doing something that you enjoy and you're working hard at it, I always feel like something will come eventually. Do you know what I mean? It's even, sometimes you hear these stories, I'm like you said, some people have just done something, and I'm like, I could do that. It just sounds so achievable. So when it does happen, it's just even more kind of satisfying. Have you ever thought about doing like your own sort of, I know a lot of actors and stuff like that do things like podcasts, or they have like TikTok or whatever. Do you do anything else like that?
No, so I want to write, bro. I want to write like short films, write series and do it instead of just waiting for my agent or the phone to ring.
To reach out to you, yeah.
I want to write. I want to put my own stuff. Kind of, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So is the goal for you to be what, like a director or a writer? What would you rather? Or is acting always, do you think, the passion?
All three, really. I want to be involved all three ways. You know, writing my own stuff and starring in my own stuff. Directing my own stuff as well.
Yeah.
Like that's like sick. Like imagine that's like self-sufficient. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you sort of made it your sort of like you're doing your own work and sort of helping other people at the same time. Like I listened to an interview a few months ago of Quentin Tarantino. I can't remember his friend who's also a director, but he said they used to just work in like Blockbuster, or no, they worked in like a video store together.
Yeah.
And they were just like writing stuff, and then eventually they met people, and then they sort of opened up some doors for them. And I'm just like, that's just a crazy coincidence kind of thing that these things could work. But they were like, he's like obsessed with film. Like, he's like a freak. I mean, like, he's one of my favorite directors, but he's one of those guys that sort of lives and breathes it, which is kind of refreshing, because I think a lot of people who are at the top of certain industries don't really have the passion for it that they maybe once had or whatever. I like when I see people who are like, I'm still interested in it as much as I was back then, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, reading and listening to a story is crazy. Like the amount of times he would watch one film, like 20 times.
That's crazy.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Tarantino film?
Yeah.
It's gonna be something rogue.
No, what's the one with Samuel L. Jackson?
He's been in loads of his films. Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite. I think that's actually my favorite film of all time.
Yeah. I swear.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a film buff like you, but that is my favorite. I've watched it so many times. I love that film. It's just so.
It's a good film.
So good. I know it's cliche, but I love that film.
Very good.
So good, man. I haven't watched it for a while. I might have to rewatch it again, but it's just such a great film. Like, it's really, really good. Are you into like sports? You said you're into sports, or?
Yeah. So football.
Who's your team?
Arsenal.
You're an Arsenal. I knew it.
Who's your
Liverpool.
Right, done.
Do you know what's annoying? It's like we actually got knocked out the other day. Like,
No.
so annoying. I feel like the season's done. I know we're gonna win the league, but it's just like, and we got a final on Sunday, but it just feels like, the league, everything's done now. Like, it's just, I'm gutted about that. I can't lie. It's just really wound me up, kind of thing. I just jarring, man.
Well, we're still in it, so.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what'd be crazy? Imagine if like Saka comes back and you beat Real Madrid. Like, I'd actually stop watching football. You said you're into combat sports. So you watch a lot of boxing.
I don't watch a lot of boxing, but I train boxing and Muay Thai.
Yeah. Oh, do you watch Muay Thai?
Not as much as I used to, you know.
Do you watch MMA like UFC?
Not as much as I used to.
Oh, so MMA. I think I watch MMA. I think I probably like MMA as much as I like football.
I swear.
Oh, it's just the most amazing sport. Like, I stay up every weekend if I'm not out watching it till like 5 in the. It's just.
So what sport do you train at all?
No. I went to there's a few MMA gyms and I've been meaning to start, but I went to a few classes. Well, I went to a boxing class. There's an MMA gym in Beckenham. There's a few actually.
Or Scorpion?
No, I went to the one London Martial Arts and Fitness. It's like opposite the Nando's. I went there once and it was cool, but I just never really. I don't know. I'm not worried about getting hurt or anything, but I don't know. I need to start because I train all the time, like weights and cardio and that, but. Yeah, I do want to start maybe even just like jiu-jitsu or something.
Yeah, man.
Because when I'm watching MMA, like, I know what's happening when I'm watching a fight, but I feel like I would enjoy it more if I've done it, kind of thing. Because when I'm watching boxing, obviously I love boxing, but I don't know it as well as I know MMA. Like, so when I'm watching boxing, I don't know exactly the mechanics or what's going on. When I'm watching MMA, it's just like, it's just such a good sport. Like, I don't know how many fights you've seen or whatever, but it's just.
It's chess, isn't it? It's
great.
The art and skill and.
Yeah, they're doing an event next week in London at the O2 actually.
Oh,
yeah. So there's a guy called Leon Edwards. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah.
He was champion, so he lost his belt last summer, but he's gonna be fighting next week. So I'm a bit I'm nervous, but I'm gonna be watching. Yeah.
No, that'd be sick.
It's crazy. It's got so popular since the pandemic because that was the only sport that was on. Because I remember 5 years ago, Leon Edwards was fighting Tyron Woodley, who was the former champion, and they always come to London in March. For years I've been doing that, and me and my mate was gonna get some tickets. They were only 40 quid, and then it got cancelled because of COVID. But 2 years later, 2022, they come back. Tickets are like £300, like in London, and it's just like it's so expensive. I've never been to a UFC. I've been to Bellator to watch Michael Venom Page, but it's so expensive because it's just gotten so much more popular.
Yeah, so I think like me and my dad and a couple of my mates, we went to watch the AJ fight.
Which one? Usyk?
Dubois.
Oh my days, that was crazy.
That was a crazy fight, man. That was a crazy fight. But even then, our tickets were like 100 something quid.
That's cheap for AJ. I'm confused.
We were all the way.
No, I can imagine. Yeah, 'cause that was Wembley, innit? That was Wembley. That was one of the craziest fights. Because I can't lie, I love AJ, but I love Dubois as well. But I thought AJ would win because I rate AJ. I think he's one of the best heavyweights, but. He got done so badly. Yeah, it was insane.
It was a crazy fight.
It's mad because, and I really want to see Dubois versus Usyk now. So, yeah.
Usyk though.
Usyk he's probably the best heavyweight. Well, he's the best heavyweight of this generation because he's beaten AJ twice, Fury twice, Dubois once, and he was a cruiserweight champ. And he's small for a heavyweight. I know he's 6'3", but the other guys dwarf him. Like he's just so technically good. Like he's just incredible, man.
And a humble guy, man.
Yeah, and he's a character as well.
Yeah.
Like he always says, "I'm Phil," kind of thing. Have you seen like the build up to Eubank versus Ben?
I have, I saw the egg thing.
Oh my, that was crazy. Obviously, he said that he failed the drug test because of eggs, so he slapped him with the egg in his face. That was crazy. I've actually got tickets to that fight, so I'm gonna be going.
Sick.
It's at Tottenham Stadium as well.
Oh, fair.
Yeah, it's a nice ground, so I'm looking forward to that. That's gonna be mental. But yeah, would you want to do any more sort of boxing roles, or would you think, it's just too much schooling?
100%.
Training, this sounds crazy.
I love it though. I love it. I've taken my mind and my body to the extremes, and then also sometimes like during the play, me and my counterpart Christian Lifo, we would sometimes forget our like choreography, yeah. And we would just be going ham. We just actually start fighting. It's just like we can't stop and try and figure it out on stage whilst there's a live audience. Sometimes he might bang me in the face, and the next thing you know, boom, 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 we're fighting properly. Bangs are being thrown, and then we're somehow catching it.
Yeah.
And going back into the place.
That's
cool.
Literally rolling with the punches.
Yeah, literally. For real.
Have you seen when you was sort of performing on that show? What was you weighing roughly? Because you must have lost so much weight.
Probably weighing about 75.
Damn. What do you usually weigh?
I weigh around 80 kg.
Wow, so that's like a stone essentially.
I was ripped.
You must have been lean. Yeah, like Jesus Christ. I can imagine, like, you're training every day. Like, it's a workout every single day kind of thing, which is mental. And I just sort of think I've heard from actors say doing sort of a combat film, it's hard work, because especially if you don't know anything, have any prior experience with boxing or whatever, it must have been mental kind of thing. Crazy. People that you've worked with on stage or, shows that you've done, have any of them sort of had like a big break that we might know?
Yeah, so I did a play back in, when was this? 2017 maybe.
Well, that's early days then.
Yeah, early days. It was like an amateur theatre called Found in Full Theatre, and I don't know if you've seen Queen Charlotte.
I have not, no.
It's
is that a film or is that a
It's a
show?
series, a spin-off of
Queen's Gambit.
No, Bridgerton.
Oh, I haven't seen Bridgerton, but I know it's like a Victorian time
Yeah,
show.
yeah. So it's not a spin-off, but it's a second kind of story in the Bridgerton
Sequel.
Kind of world. And the main guy from that, he was the main character in Bridgerton.
Yeah.
I guess that is a big break, but I also like just a lot of other actors I've worked with, like, doing some crazy things.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. That must be mental.
Yeah, man. It's good to see. Like, it's like, damn, you've worked so hard and now you're getting there,
and even from a personal thing, it must be reassuring to know, like, well, I've worked with them. So, like we said earlier, it can happen to me as well, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that must be so. It must be so satisfying in that industry when you finally get your break, kind of thing, and it's just like, it just works. Because I've worked with people in TV, and like I worked on Soccer Aid last year, and I worked with Dermot O'Leary because obviously he's the presenter of the show, and he's just like he basically started what I was doing. He was like a runner, then he was a researcher, and then he just sort of I think when he was working on Big Brother like 20 years ago, he asked, can I sort of warm up the crowd for the live show? And they were like, yeah. And then they liked him, and then he just started getting jobs, kind of thing. And it's weird how things can just fall in your lap like that. And
so you see how he took initiative and put himself there.
Yeah. It's so true.
He didn't wait for someone to give it. He just was like, can I do it? And then he did it. And
And I worked with so many people in the TV industry, and they've all said the same thing. Like, he's like the nicest guy. I mean, I've only spoke to him briefly, but he was just like really friendly, and he doesn't have to speak to someone like me, but he'll make the effort to go and speak to people. And it sort of remembered something that I heard in an interview once with Maya Jama. She used to work for, I didn't even realise she worked for Copper 90 back in the day, doing all their YouTube videos.
Sure.
Yeah, I had no idea, because back in the day, like when I started watching Copper 90, it was like Poet and Vuj. And she was saying that she was working on Copper 90 like over 10 years ago. And she was saying, people were sending in questions like, what advice do you have for people trying to make it in like a creative industry? And she was like, yeah, just be nice to people. Because she was saying, you might be horrible to someone, and then one day they're going to be hiring you, and they're saying, well, no, I'm not going to hire you. I mean, you should be nice to people anyway, but she was like, you make contacts and people will remember you if you're nice. Obviously, if you're good at your job, but it always stuck with me, because I was like, you should be nice to people anyway, but it resonated with me thinking, yeah, I mean, if someone like that's saying it, it should be even more true, because you hear stories about people in these industries where they're like kind of divas, and it's just like they're hard to work with, and people just don't want to work with them. I've heard a lot of stories about famous people, and they're just not very nice. But yeah, it's good when people that you work with are sort of normal. Do you get what I'm saying?
It costs nothing to be nice, man. I don't think it should be a skill. I think just be nice. And, you know.
But I think a lot of people, whether it's fame or money, it does get to their head. Some people, and they change, which is, I mean, I don't know these people personally, but it can be like, it can really sort of mess up, and people don't want to work with you when you're just a pain to work with, like a hassle. Have you ever done like what was I gonna say? Have you ever done like street performing?
I think back in the day when I was younger, I did not a street performance, but a little. I don't know what it was.
Was it not like a school play or something?
No, it wasn't. You know, it was like a little show to the audience. We kind of dressed up and showed on the street, but nothing really like that. No.
I don't know if I could do it. Like that just makes me feel even more nervous than the other thing, because sometimes I've heard stories about actors that have done like stand-up comedy, and they're like, they'll say this is the hardest thing I've ever done. Like it's just no one's laughing, and it's just like they're just bombing for like say 5-10 minutes, and I just think, why would anyone want to subject themselves to like that pain kind of thing? It just sounds horrible.
I guess it's the pain, but then when it goes good, it's really good. Like,
yeah,
the thrill of getting
a laugh,
the audience like laughing or crying or being emotionally invested and clapping, and you know, the standing ovation at the end, and just feel
must be such a relief.
Yeah,
like satisfying.
Man.
Yeah,
it's not even. It's just like I'm so happy that you're happy about what I've given you.
Like
you know what I mean?
You sort of feel grateful that they've paid the money to see you, and then
and I've made it worth their night.
Yeah, like you've reciprocated what they that's what they come for, kind of thing. Oh man, would you ever want to do? I've heard some actors say they sort of learn other languages to help me hopefully get them some more roles. Have you ever thought about doing that?
Spanish.
You can speak Spanish?
I want to. I imagine.
Did you learn that in school?
No, I never. But obviously, everyone's seen like Elite, and what's the other one?
Elite?
What's Spanish that? Show. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It's called Elite, but it's pronounced Elite.
Oh, okay. What is it, like a drama?
Netflix, drama. Or
I've never seen it. Only thing
bank. What's the bank one?
Bank Heist. Money Heist.
Money Heist, yeah.
I haven't seen that. I've seen like Narcos and stuff, but I've never seen obviously any of those. But yeah, I've heard a lot of actors say if you can speak another language, it's so beneficial to getting more roles, kind of thing. And something like Spanish, because you've got like the whole Latin American world, and it's just they have like I think it's called telenovelas or something, which is their version of say like soap operas, but they're big kind of thing, and it's like everyone watches them. And like imagine if you have something like that. I think even like American actors that can speak Spanish, like what's her name, Sofia Vergara. She was like when she was working on Modern Family, she was the highest paid actress in Hollywood, which is crazy. I know, it's mental, and she was earning that at like in her sort of 40s kind of thing, which is, I mean, she's got loads of money anyway, but to hear that was just nuts. And some of my favourite shows from back in the day, when Friends was in its peak, they were all making $1 million per episode.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favourite shows as well, yeah.
That is crazy money. Like, yeah.
I don't even know what I would do that kind of money. Like, if I won the lottery, I don't even think, like, you'd buy a house and this and that, but you can't go on holiday forever. You'd still have to work. But I worry, I mean, I don't think it would with me, but I think it would sort of, in the back of your head, take away some motivation if you haven't made it already. Do you get what I'm saying?
I don't know, because I feel like, I don't know if money's your goal, I guess, but...
It's not, though, because I always worry, like, are you going to put in that extra work because you don't actually have to, kind of thing? I feel like a lot of people would sort of fall into the trap with, well, I don't have to.
I can definitely see that. But then it's also a thing like, what do you want to leave behind is my going, you know.
A legacy.
Yeah, man. What do I want to achieve? What do I want to do? What do I want to have people remember me for?
So what would you say motivates you most when it comes to your profession?
I want to do amazing stories and be involved with amazing other talented people.
So I'm the Senate officer. Oh, you're just deep in thought as well.
And also, tell amazing stories, be a part of amazing casts, and work with amazing people, and just leave behind something great, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's what motivates me.
Yeah.
Like when I get a sick, juicy script, I'm like, damn, this would be so cool to play.
So do you actually have to read through the whole script when they send it to you?
I think you don't. Some actors don't, but I do. You know.
Do you rehearse the lines with family and stuff? Is that how do you? That's what I was going to ask you. How do you remember it from sort of not back to front, but how do you sort of know? Okay, I need to know this part and that part. Do you have a method to your sort of?
A lot of repetition, and then also my girlfriend. She helps a lot. Bless her, man. Love her.
Is she into? Does she do acting as well?
No. She's not into acting, but she's massive support for me.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it'll be like 11:30, and it's like, oh babe, can you just?
yeah. Because I was watching. I don't know if you've seen the film Notting Hill before.
Notting Hill.
It's what's his name? It's Julia Roberts and what's the really posh English actor from back in the day? He's in a film right now.
Jude Law?
No, similar though. He's like, how am I for blanking all these actors' names? Have you seen the film The Gentleman?
Yeah.
He's in that, and he's like the crook.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I can't remember. That's really gonna bother me.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So in that film, Julia Roberts is like a Hollywood actress, and I remember that they're rehearsing her lines, and she was like saying, they're like, she's sort of going through the script. He's reading back the lines, but she's sort of doing all the action as well because she was like, that helps me remember. So I always wonder when I hear actors say like, what is the best way to sort of remember lines?
I think what I'm doing now, I've got a class tomorrow actually that I'm learning lines for. Instead of learning just my part, I'm reading the script over and over both parts.
Yeah.
Because then it's kind of like, as important as my lines are, so are my counterparts, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Because there's a lot of subtext and a lot of story in their lines and the reason why they're saying it, and I've got to make sure I know that.
Yeah, of course. That makes sense, yeah. The reason I ask this is because, have you seen the show Snowfall?
Yeah.
So, I didn't know who Damson Idris was, but obviously he's from like Peckham or something. But he's playing like a guy from, where is it set? In LA.
Yeah.
And his accent is like spot on. Can you do a lot of other accents, whether it's like regional in the UK or American ones?
I can do good accents, yeah. In American, I can do American, Standard American. I can do regional. It just takes a bit of practice.
Like Birmingham or something, or
yeah.
Liverpool, yeah. It's just crazy because I feel like British actors are so good at doing American accents. Because I think we watch a lot of their TV and films, but when it's the other way around, Americans are not great at doing asks. So I don't know if you've seen the film Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
Don Cheadle who's an amazing actor. He plays like a Cockney, like geezer basically, and the accent is so bad. Like he sounds like he's like Australian. It's really distracting actually to the film. Like it's one of my favorite films, but he's like, it's really really bad. But there's so many examples of British actors like Dominic West in The Wire, Idris Elba in The Wire, Damson Idris in Snowfall, and their accents are just like exceptional.
I think it is a thing that you just raised actually when you said we grow up watching their media.
Yeah.
I think it is that as well.
Yeah.
What I mean? So like if you ask any, I don't know, 5-year-old, 6-year-old from the UK to sound like an American, they put an American accent.
They could do it.
But if you ask a 5-6-year-old in the US to put on a British accent,
they couldn't do it.
Not have heard a British accent.
Yeah.
And
I feel like they all think that people in the UK sound like they're from the royal family or something, because they've seen shows like the Crown, and they're like, oh well, everyone speaks like that. Because I've met Americans before and they think I sound like posh, and I'm like, no, this is just like a normal accent for most people, kind of thing. Because I remember actually when Get Out came out, there was a lot of uproar about Daniel Kaluuya, because they were like, well, he's black, but he's not an American, so he doesn't know exactly what it's like, which I get, but I kind of think the best person for the role is
acting.
It's acting. It's not real life kind of thing. And if you didn't know who he was, because I didn't know who he was before that film, you wouldn't know that he was
British.
Yeah, it's mental.
Yeah, super talented guy, you know. But I think it's also about unless the story requires someone of that origin, I feel like it should be up to the best suited person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because I remember I saw that was the ad break was done. Sorry. We haven't got much longer left. We'll do like 5-10 minutes. I saw a TikTok of who was it? It was Denzel Washington speaking, and someone, I think the interviewer asked him, why can't say a white director do, say, what was one of the films that he was in, like Training Day or something. He was like, you can. He was like, Spielberg could do that film, and he said, what's that black director called? Spike Lee. He could do, say, probably Goodfellas if he tried, but it's a cultural thing, because he was like, an Italian American director will know things better than, say, a Jewish American or a black American. He said that's why it's important, but he wasn't sort of saying what you were saying about Daniel Kaluuya, because I saw a lot of big actors in Hollywood say, well, he shouldn't really be playing that role, and I was like, does it really matter, kind of thing? I don't know.
I think when it comes to representing black people, I think we've all gone through a similar struggle, you know?
Yeah,
we've
of course.
all been fighting for the same thing as black people, so I don't think we should be pitting ourselves against each other. And
I do kind of get their argument. I can't remember who said it. It was a big black actor. I couldn't remember. It was like, it might have been Denzel or
Samuel.
It might have been Samuel. What, someone said it. I'll look it up later, because I remember them talking about it on the Breakfast Club, and they were debating it.
On the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, and they were. But I do get it, because the experience in the UK and America is obviously similar but different kind of thing.
Yeah.
And obviously, what that film was about is essentially race relations between black and white in America, which is not exactly the same as here in the UK. So I do get the criticism, but if he done the role brilliantly, kind of thing. Yeah. Do you know what's another thing, actually, quickly on Daniel Kaluuya? I've never seen Skins, but he was in that as well. I had no idea.
Yeah,
and that was like 20 years ago or something.
And he used to write episodes of Skins.
Did he? And he was like, what, 18 then?
Yeah, young.
Yeah, because there was a lot of good actors in that show. There was that guy.
So many blew up, man.
What's the Asian guy called? He's in a lot of. I see him in films all the time.
Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about.
I can't remember his name, but he was in. He's been in like loads of Hollywood films and series and that. And there was another girl that kind of blew up from that show as well.
I think it's what's his name?
That's gonna drive me mad. It's I can't remember his name. Is it Hamza something or?
Dev Patel.
Dev Patel, yeah. Yeah, that was just driving me mad. But yeah, it's weird how so many young British actors blew up from that. I mean, I've never seen Skins, but they all blew up from that show. Yeah.
Yeah, man, Skins was amazing. I mean, just to write that level at that young, so it seems like it shows like you have to be training all parts of your brain, storytelling, to be able to then play a sick character. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I done because I went to university and I studied like TV and radio, but one of my classes was screenwriting, and I like the guys that were teaching the class were these two guys, and they had been in the industry for forever, and they had written episodes on shows like EastEnders and other big shows or whatever. And when they was like going into all this detail, I was thinking the brain capacity you must need to have all of these small attention to detail, which is just I mean, I'm not into I don't work in unscripted TV. I mean, I don't work in scripted TV, sorry. So it's not really for me, but the detail that you need to have down, the attention to detail is just like ridiculous kind of thing. And I don't know if have you watched The Sopranos?
No, I haven't yet.
Oh my God. That is with Breaking Bad the best thing I've ever seen.
I'm gonna watch
it. Do you have Sky or Now TV?
Yeah.
It's the whole series is on there, and it's just incredible. But I won't obviously give anything away. But the director that made that show and the writer, this guy called David Chase, he wrote that, and Sky released a documentary about 9 months ago, and it sort of tells a story about how the show was made and his sort of career, and the attention for detail where he's saying, oh, well, we're filming this scene, so maybe we should be wearing this colour, and maybe the scene should be set like that, and maybe the accent of this person should be... It's just crazy, the layers that go into these sort of big productions. It's nuts. And I think even in the smaller things, whether it's the theatre or whatever, there are little layers that you probably recognise all the time.
Yeah.
But someone like me, I'm like, you take it for granted kind of thing.
I think it's a thing where, now I watch films and TV, and I can't just shut off. I'm like, ooh, was that a director choice? That's sick. Was that a character choice? Did he mean to do that?
Yeah.
Then you find out things were improvised, like, what was the film with, oh my gosh.
What actor?
It was is it 12 Years a Slave?
I still haven't seen that film, you know.
Haven't seen 12 Years a Slave?
Is that Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah, Leonardo. Okay, cool, boom.
Oh, sorry, I didn't even give you that one. Yeah.
With Leonardo DiCaprio, they're having dinner, and then he smashes his hand on the glass, and that was all improvised, and his hand's actually bleeding.
Oh, really? Oh, damn.
And instead of cutting, he just decides to carry on rolling on. It's like,
Because it's raw.
It's
it
raw,
feels more real.
yeah.
That's far, man.
So,
I still need to watch that. That's crazy. You know, I just realised Leo's been in quite a few Slay films. That's a bit suspect. He was great in Django, though. He was really good. What I was going to say, so just before we wrap up, what I was going to say is with your sort of career and the sort of progression you're going in, what would you say makes you sort of stand out, and what would you say your best qualities are when it comes to acting and your sort of profession?
My best, what makes me stand out? Damn, that is a good question. What makes me stand out? I hope my passion for the craft and my complete dedication to this makes me stand out. I think a lot of people would say they're dedicated, but like people are like, oh, would you ever quit? And it's like, nah, it's not about being famous or whatever. It's about like, bro, I want to be doing great stories with great people, you know what I mean? And being on screen and being on set, like, and making people enjoy the craft and learn and inspiring others. That's like sick, bro.
Yeah.
So I guess that. And what was the other question, sir?
And I was gonna say, what was the last one? Well, I said what was your best qualities? Like, would you say? I don't know. You know more about this stuff than me. What would you say your best qualities are, like, as an actor? Are you sort of, I don't know enough about acting, but like, you're great at showing emotion, or like you can play like a tough guy really well. Like, what was your kind of sort of strong points in that sort of respect?
I don't know. I wouldn't pigeonhole myself into anything. I can do it all.
You can do it all. Okay, well that's
man.
good. That's that's what we want to hear. Is there anywhere that somewhere people can check you out? Like, do you have TikTok or do you have like
no,
a show?
I have Instagram at Shem Hamilton.
Yeah,
you can check me out there, and hopefully see me on screen or on set soon.
You should really get on TikTok though, because I feel like you should post like your clips and stuff. And I think you've got a lot of good insight where you were saying, well, I you know, I write and this is my process for learning rhymes. I think you should really get on there, like even just small clips, because it can definitely help you get seen, and someone might be like, oh, I can reach out to him or whatever.
You know what, I am gonna write short films, man. I've been saying this for the longest time. I'm gonna do short films, and I feel like I can also document my process on that.
Yeah, I really think you should, because even if no one sees it, like even these clips that I put out, like I'll edit it up like little reels and TikToks. Like I get like 500 views, but I think to get into that habit as well, it's just a good habit to have, kind of thing. And like you said, you sound very dedicated, so I think you should just keep doing it, sort of thing, and just make it work. But yeah, it's been great having you on, talking to you, and I think it's been kind of refreshing, because sometimes me, like I would say I'm a dedicated person when I'm working hard at this, but when you hear other people doing it, because sometimes there are days where you don't want to do it, and it's just sort of refreshing to know that other people are doing the same thing. And also, I think it's important when you hear other people going through the same kind of struggle, that makes you just want it that little bit more. Do you know what I mean? Just a tiny bit more, and things that you can change. Because I've always wanted to do the presenting and hosting kind of thing, and literally on my day off the other day, you know, like on LinkedIn, you can get people's email. I went through AEE presenters who are on TV every day, got their email that I'm already connected with, emailed 80 in one day. About 20 got back to me. And I was surprised. And these people that are on TV every day, BBC, ITV1, Channel 4, whatever, and they all gave me little things that I can be doing, and they basically reaffirmed what I am doing. They're like, you're doing the right stuff, so just keep doing what you're doing. But they were like, all of them gave me little like nuggets, and I'm like, I should be doing more of that kind of thing. And I think it's the same with you. If you sort of document what you're doing, you know, the classes, the training, your sort of vision kind of thing, I think you should do that. It won't hurt, basically.
No,
but honestly, it's been great speaking to you, and I'll have you on again. We can do it again, and we don't have to do it here, because we can do it like your house or my house or whatever kind of thing. So it's a bit easier. And
bro, I don't mind, Trevor. Thank you for having me, man. Like, this has been sick. I've never been interviewed, you know.
Yeah. Well, look, we'll do it again, because with me, I know it's hard for people to come at a certain time or whatever. So if I can't ever get a guest, I just get like one of my mates or like my brother to do it. But yeah, I'm just trying to speak to as many people as I can, and just speak to as many different people as I can. Because it got to a point where I was just doing like my mate and my brother and a few fighters here and there. But I'm just trying to speak to as many interesting people as I can. I think that's just the best way to do it. Because I like speaking to people as well, because you get to hear these stories that you didn't hear before and stuff. And yeah. But yeah, thank you.
No,
cheers. Thank you.
Bro.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anytime again.
Yeah, we'll do it again soon.
I'd love to get other people on if you ever want.
Yeah, do you know what? I was thinking that I will need to buy some more mics because there's another mic here which is part of the studio, but these mics are mine because they pick up the sound.
Oh, nice.
But I need to buy some more because these one I've only got 2 of these, so I will buy some more and then we can have more people on, sort of thing. But yeah, let's do it again.
Sick.
Cool, thank you.
No,
Cheers,
thanks a
cheers.
lot.
Oh, thanks for that.